Morning came with the smell of coffee and the sound of footsteps moving through the house, as if nothing had fractured the night before. Merkin stood in the kitchen, hands wrapped around a warm cup she hadn't tasted yet, listening to voices drift in from the next room, laughter, casual remarks, life continuing as it always did. She wondered how people did that, how they carried on as if tension didn't linger in corners, as if words left unsaid didn't weigh more than spoken ones. "Good morning," someone called cheerfully. "Good morning," Merkin replied, forcing a smile. Simul entered the kitchen, adjusting his jacket. He paused when he noticed her expression. "You didn't sleep," he said, not as a question. She shrugged lightly. "I'm fine." He didn't press, but his eyes told her he didn't believe her. "Eight." Merkin hesitated, still closed. Simul nodded slowly. "He's been that way as long as I've known him." She looked up at him. "Did he ever talk to you about his past?" Simul stiffened just slightly. If Eight wanted to talk Merkin, he would. "Believe me, I'm not trying to expose him," she said quietly. "I just want to understand how to stop hurting him." Simul studied her for a moment, then sighed. "Sometimes understanding someone doesn't come from answers," he said. "It comes from patience." Later, at the table, older voices filled the space, comments about food, about work, about how tired city life made people. Someone mentioned the village, the soil, the quiet of nature. Merkin listened without really hearing, her thoughts drifting back to the hallway the night before, to the way Eights had almost spoken. Almost. Across the room, Eights sat silently, eyes lowered, responding only when spoken to directly. To anyone else, he looked calm, distant but polite. Merkin knew better. She saw the tension in his shoulders, the way his fingers tapped once against the table before going still again. "You're too serious," one of the elders teased him. "Life isn't only work." Eights gave a faint smile. "Someone has to be." Merkin caught his glance for a brief second. There was no anger in it now, just caution. As if he were constantly measuring how much of himself the room could tolerate. After breakfast, Merkin retreated to the garden, needing air. The greenery helped, grounding her in something real and solid. She knelt to pull a weed from the soil, letting the dirt stain her fingers. "You'll ruin your clothes," a gentle voice said behind her. She turned to see an older woman smiling kindly. "Clothes can be washed," Merkin replied. "Some things can't." The woman studied her carefully. "You care about him," she said simply. Merkin nodded. "More than he thinks." "Then don't rush him," the woman advised. "Men who carry anger like that don't need questions. They need consistency." That word stayed with her. Consistency. That evening, Merkin found Eights alone in the living room, staring at nothing in particular. She stopped in the doorway, unsure whether to enter or retreat. "I'm going to make tea," she said instead, "if you want some." He didn't answer right away. Then, quietly, "Okay." It wasn't much, but it wasn't rejection either. As Merkin walked toward the kitchen, she felt the weight of the day settle into her bones. She was being pulled in every direction by concern, by patience, by fear of pushing too hard and fear of doing nothing at all. Behind her, Eights leaned back slightly, closing his eyes for just a moment. He hated how visible his silence had become. And yet, for the first time, he didn't feel entirely alone in it. The change was not loud. That was what unsettled Merkin the most. It arrived quietly, folded into ordinary moments, glances held a second too long, conversations that stopped when she entered a room, the faint sense that something had shifted just out of sight. Eights noticed it too, though he didn't say anything. He rarely did when something bothered him. Silence had always been his first line of defense. That afternoon, Simul returned later than usual. "Did something happen?" Merkin asked, handing him a glass of water. He hesitated before answering. "Nothing serious," he said, too quickly. "Just people talking." "What kind of people?" she pressed. "The kind that shouldn't matter," Simul replied, then sighed. Zara's name came up. Merkin felt her stomach tighten. About us. About AIDS, Simo said. About his temper, his past, whether he's stable. Merkin set the glass down slowly. Who's saying this? Simo shook his head. That's the problem. No one specific. It's spreading the way rumors do, softly, politely, with concern disguised as kindness. Concern that cuts deeper than open hostility, Merkin thought. That evening, Ates came home later than expected. His jacket was slung over his arm, his expression unreadable. Merkin watched him from across the room, searching for signs: anger, exhaustion, withdrawal. You're quiet, she said gently. He shrugged. Long day. She studied him for a moment, then decided not to push. Instead, she moved toward the kitchen. I made soup, she said. You didn't eat much earlier. It's paused. You didn't have to. I wanted to, Merkin replied. He sat at the table, silent as she placed the bowl in front of him. He tasted it once, nodded slightly, and continued eating. People are talking, she said after a moment. He stopped mid-spoon. About what? About you, Merkin answered honestly. About your past. His jaw tightened. I didn't say anything, she added quickly. Neither did Simo, but someone wants others to look at you differently. It's leaned back, exhaling sharply. So it started. Merkin frowned. Started what? The part where people pretend to care, he said coldly, before they decide what to do with you. She reached across the table, stopping herself, just short of touching his hand. You're not alone in this. He met her eyes. That's what scares them. The words hung between them, heavier than he intended. Later that night, Merkin stood by the window, watching the lights outside. Her phone vibrated softly in her hand. An unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. Merkin, a woman's voice said smoothly, calm, familiar. Zara? Merkin's grip tightened. How did you get this number? I get many things, Zara replied lightly. I just wanted to see how you were holding up. I'm fine, Merkin said, keeping her voice steady. I'm sure you are, Zara continued. You always try so hard, with Ates, with everyone. Merkin felt a chill run through her. If you have something to say it. Zara chuckled softly. I only wanted to warn you. Men like Ates don't change. They break people who try to save them. Merkin's voice sharpened. You don't know him. I know patterns, Zara said, and I know what happens when women mistake patience for strength. The line went dead. Merkin stared at the phone, her pulse racing. Behind her, Ates spoke quietly. Who was that? She turned. For the first time, she didn't soften the truth. Zara, she said. Something dark crossed Ates' face, not fear, not surprise, recognition. So she's moved on to you, he said. Merkin nodded. She thinks she can scare me away. Ates stood, his posture rigid. She will. No, Merkin said firmly. She won't. He looked at her, then really looked at her and saw something new in her expression. Not fear. Resolve. And for the first time since this had begun, Ates realized something unsettling. Patience was no longer Merkin's only weapon.